Wow! Det verkar som jag faktiskt är live. Det är ju rätt sjukt, får vi säga. Hej, om någon tittar. Kul att ni gör så i sådana fall. I'm gonna speak English from here on out, I think. Write in the comment section if you want me to speak in English or Swedish. Either way, there seems to be like a half a minute delay between when you see this and when I say something, so expect some delay from my answers and things like that. Okay, so today we're gonna make an olive tree, so that's gonna be a lot of fun, hopefully, or it's gonna be really boring. One of those. We'll find out, I guess. Yeah, so I will be using Blender, which is this piece of software that you're seeing in front of you, and it's totally free. So even though this isn't a tutorial, maybe you'll learn something. And if you don't, well, too bad. So the absolutely first thing we're gonna do is that I'm gonna delete this default cube and another one because I duplicated it earlier, trying to figure out if these keys I'm gonna make myself even smaller so that you can see things happening down here. So we're gonna start out by making a circle, and that circle we're gonna turn into a pot, and that pot is gonna be made of terracotta, hopefully, unless we fail miserably. So yeah, let's do this thing. So I'm starting out with this circle, and I'm gonna press F. That will fill it, and then I'm gonna start making a terracotta pot out of this. And I'm gonna do that by extruding it upwards like this, and then I'm gonna extrude slightly more and scale that up. So now we have our base for a pot to put our olive tree in. And I just want to be very clear, I don't know what I'm doing. I've done very little modeling. I usually take someone else's models and then I light them and render them so they will fit into my short films, which are usually very CGI heavy, but I'm very seldom the person making the 3D models behind that CGI, except for like a quick model of a room to be able to match lighting and stuff for a much nicer model made by someone else. Yeah, so this really isn't a tutorial because I don't know what I'm doing, but maybe this will be interesting either way, or it won't. It will be one of those. I'm seeing I'm getting a lot of Snapchats. I presume it might be from one of my viewers, but I will not check that because I will pretend like I have thousands of viewers and I can't disappoint those, can I? Okay, so we're making a very big pot. It's inspired by a pot I actually have at home. This entire thing will be inspired by an olive tree I have at my parents' place. Actually. And why am I making an olive tree? Well, first of all, I want to learn how to model, and then a much more influential YouTuber is having weekly challenges during this quarantine thing. And this week's challenge is to make a plant in a pot. So I guess I'm part of that challenge and making a plant in a pot, which happens to be an olive tree I have at my parents' place that unfortunately I couldn't bring to this place because it would just have been a huge hassle. Because, I mean, it's a tree. It's a small tree, but still, it's a tree. They take up some space. Anyway, okay. So I'm pretty happy with the overall shape of this pot. As you can see, it's a very big pot. I feel like the base is maybe a bit too small, but we can fix that later. Now, pots are usually not covered up, so let's fix that. Oh my god, Ooh! Thanks, neighbors, for watching my stream. So, I'm gonna make a hole. And I'm gonna do that like this. But this isn't a very nice rim. Nothing in the real world would just stop abruptly and have a perfectly smooth top. So we're gonna fix that. And we're gonna do that by selecting all of the rings around here. I'm gonna pull them up a little bit, like this. And then I'm gonna make a cut around the edge here. And I'm gonna scale that up slightly. And I don't know if you can see this, but as you can see, it's being pulled out like this. And then I'm gonna choose this edge. I'm gonna pull it up slightly. I'm gonna scale it down slightly. And then I'm gonna go ahead and bevel it to make it smoother. Yeah. Okay, I'm not perfectly happy. I think it should be a bit bigger. So let's attempt that. As I have already mentioned, I don't really know what I'm doing. This isn't really my field within 3D. I do the lighting and rendering, not the modeling. But I think we can pull this off. So I'm gonna scale it upwards. So I'm not scaling it along any of the sides, just making it taller. Yeah, I feel like that edge is good, but I feel like I made maybe the whole pot a bit too big on top. But we can fix that as well. And maybe it's a bit too tall. So how do we fix that? Well, simple, we just select everything. But now we're not selecting the back side. So we can do that by switching into wireframe mode, because now we can see everything on both sides. I'm gonna make the whole thing slightly shorter, but as you can see, it just makes it just pulls everything up. So I'm gonna pull it back down again, and now it's too thick. So I'm gonna make it slightly smaller along the other axis as well. Yeah, I kind of like that size, but this base is too big now, so we're gonna fix that as well. So just selecting everything here, except for the very base. Yeah, I kind of screwed this up, didn't I? But I think we can still solve it. Just gonna scale this up. Yeah. I'm fairly happy with that. This middle part is a bit too big. You know what? I'm gonna select the entire thing. I'm gonna make it a bit thinner. Then I'm gonna bam, bam, make it a bit shorter like that. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. I'm gonna change one last thing, and that is I'm gonna take this loop and this loop, so all the way around, and I'm gonna pull that down slightly. Oh no, I can't. Well, I can, but you know what? I think that's fine. Okay, good. Now I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna take that loop, but all the faces instead of the edges. Is my face even? Yes, good. And this is supposed to be a rim that goes around, points out basically. So we're gonna do that. And how do we do that? Well, if I just do the same thing I did before when making this whole shape, it will go in one direction and it will not work. So what we can do is we can go to mesh, and we can extrude faces along normals. That will extrude all the faces in their normal direction, and the normal direction is usually the direction they're pointing. So we scale everything out uniformly or inwards or whatever, instead of pulling all of those faces in the same direction. So this looks pretty good. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. I can see that my base is not completely flat anymore. Not quite sure. No, I probably want it to be flat. So let's quickly fix that. Scale that in slightly like that. And actually, I think it's a bit too thick. So I'm gonna select everything except for except for that bottom one, and then I'm just gonna pull it. Oh no. Oh right, okay. No, come on. Okay, let's do it this way instead then. I'm gonna pull that up so it's just really thin, like this, and then I'm gonna select everything and I'm gonna pull everything down. There we go. So now we got our thing. This is gonna be a pot. And I'm very happy with the overall shape of this, but as you might realize if you're looking at this, is that it's very low resolution. I mean, it's not smooth as a pot would be in real life. So let's fix that. And there's a function in Blender, the software, where you can right click and click shade smooth, but that doesn't work. Well, it works, but looks really weird. So let's not do that. Instead, we're gonna add a modifier. And a modifier is a way of changing your mesh, but in a non-destructive way. So if I just bump this up a bit, now it looks smooth, but if I change my mind, I can just turn it off or remove it completely. This looks smooth, but it's a bit too smooth. If we can have a look on the edge here, this is supposed to go out like pretty square, but now it's very rounded off. We don't want that, so how do we solve that? Well, there's a function for that too, and that is more modeling. So if I go back in to edit it, you can see we now have some problems. There's something going on up here. That is because of we adding this subdivision surface modifier to make it smooth, but there isn't enough geometry to figure everything out. So we're gonna tighten up all of these creases that we want to be kind of sharp, but not perfectly. So it's not too smooth. And it's super easy, thankfully. All you have to do is you add a ring and you pull it down, and that will sharpen up this crease. And I guess it's more noticeable up here, so let's do it here instead. Now I can make that crease sharper. You can see it's way too smooth, and now we get it back to a realistic level. And we can add another one here, make it even nicer. So we just basically squeeze all this information. Now we're not gonna do a lot inside of our pot, but as you can see, it's breaking apart completely, trying to smooth very little geometry. If I just turn this off, you can see we just have some lines and then there's a flat bottom, and it doesn't really know what to do about it. So we're gonna add a bit some some information in here, so it knows at least slightly what it's doing. So yeah, that's a bit better. Not perfect, but slightly better. I don't want to add too much, because the more information, the more computing resources I need to work with this model. If it's oh, okay, there, one of my lights died, but it didn't matter. Good. If I add too much information, this will be very computer heavy, and my whole computer will get really slow and working will be terrible. So if I can avoid it, I will keep it as low poly as possible. Yeah, we're gonna sharpen it up down here as well, because as you can see, we have the same problem down here as we had on top. There we go. Sharpen that up. Add another loop there. Add another loop here. And let's take our bottom and add at least a bit of information, so we get it slightly sharper around the edges. Bam, okay. So now we got our pot. Shape isn't perfect, but I think I'm kind of happy with it. This line sticking out looks good to me. It's sharp, but it's not perfectly sharp. And that's the big thing about getting something photorealistic. What do I mean with that? Well, if you look at something in the real world, it will never be perfectly sharp. Like you think the edge of a table or something has a sharp edge, but it's not sharp like in a computer. I mean, this is perfect. There's one pixel, edge, and another pixel. Everything is slightly rounded off. And that is what we want if we want to make something look realistic. So now these edges are slightly rounded, but still kind of sharp. And that's the way we want this. Yeah, okay, great. Now, of course we're gonna do some more stuff, because things are not only perfectly sharp, things are not only not perfectly sharp in the real world, they also tend to be not perfectly smooth, and they tend to be beaten up. Like everything is ruined in some way. Nothing is a pristine surface. And a lot of that we could do with texturing. But instead of doing that, with texturing, well, we're gonna do a bit of it with texturing, I guess. So I'm kind of lying to you guys now. But we're gonna do a bit of it with modeling, or sculpting to be more accurate. And I could start sculpting on this, but then I would get that very big model with a lot of information, and it would be very slow to work with. And it's gonna be that for a while, but we want to have a way of not having a too big model in the end. And we're gonna do that with a little trick. But the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna select my model, because this is very low poly. We want it slightly higher than this. So I'm gonna select everything, and I'm gonna subdivide it. That is basically adding a bit more information. So now we can see there's more of these faces. And yeah, I mean, that's pretty good. But I think, you know what, let's leave it at that. We can always subdivide it another time later on. Now it's a bit nicer at least. If I would select shade smooth again, you will see that nothing happens. And that's a bug. So if you work for Blender, which you don't, fix that. Anyway, so now we have our circle. I'm just gonna rename it so I know what I'm pressing in the future. Low poly pot. Now I want to make my high poly version of this with a lot more detail. I'm gonna make a crack along the pot. And then after that we're gonna start making our olive tree. And I don't know how far we'll get tonight, but we might start texturing and everything, but probably not. So I have my low poly pot. I'm gonna duplicate that. So now we have 2 of them. And I'm just gonna check one thing very quickly. Yes, you see there's 2 ways of duplicating something in Blender, and one of them will screw you up significantly. I managed to do that before. Yes, so I'm gonna rename this one high poly pot, and then I'm gonna choose some stuff here. So now I take my low poly pot, I'm gonna make it impossible to select so I don't touch it by mistake, and I'm gonna hide it in the viewport. So now that is gone. So now I just have my high poly one, which obviously isn't high poly yet, but we'll make that happen. So first of all, I'm gonna subdivide it a few times again. So now we have a lot more information to work with. And then we're gonna start sculpting. Yeah. And we're gonna jump into the sculpting workspace. Yeah, and that's probably all we're gonna do. Now, if I started sculpting on this, you'll see this is a draw tool. It will start doing things. And that's good. But there's some things we need to change first. For the first thing, if I draw everything on this side, you can see the same thing is happening on the other side. That's very useful if you're making like a character, because then you can just make half a face. But we're making a pot, and it's not supposed to be symmetrical. So I'm gonna turn that off. Then, if I choose like a really tiny brush and wanna make some really small detail, you can see the detail is still pretty big. And that is because we don't have enough information in our model. We have these faces, well, to be more accurate, we have these points that we can manage and change, but that's not enough, because I want to make a crack, and a crack is going to be a lot smaller than that. So we're going to use something called Denotopo, which stands for Dynamic Topography. Yes, fine. And it basically adds information when you're sculpting. So now you can see this is a lot smoother, and if we go in here, you can see it added like way more points here than on the rest of the model. So that is the feature we're gonna use. There we go. And there's a number of different ways to do this, but I'm gonna use this one. I'm just gonna make sure. Yeah, that's what I thought. And it's super weird, because as you can see now, it's not using Denotopo, and it's still checked. And I'm not sure if this is a bug or if it just doesn't work with the Draw Sharp brush. Like, I honestly don't know. It's very annoying though. But there's some ways you can change that, and I'm gonna change it with the help of the Simplify brush. And I'm gonna change this to constant detail, put that to like 100, which is a lot. And then let's just decide where we want this crack. And I kind of want it to go from the top here and then move down and around. So I'm gonna do that by using this Simplify brush. And I'm not actually simplifying things. I'm just pretending I'm simplifying things. So there we go. I pull a stroke. Pretty much nothing happened. What is he doing? Is he crazy? No. If I tab into edit mode now, you can see I added a crap ton. Sorry, shouldn't say stuff like that. It basically added a lot of information along where I want that crack. So now I can use the draw sharp brush, and I can even turn off dynamic topography. And now if I draw here, we get something super smooth. So great. So now I can make my crack. So great start, right? But I want it to be deeper than that. So I'm gonna polish this up. And a crack is obviously not just gonna be a line. It will maybe go off like this. That's a bit more information. So I'm just gonna continue making this deeper until we get down to here. Now I feel like, yeah, okay, good. So obviously it needs to go out on the rim here. But I feel like it should also have cracked the rim a bit around here. I feel like that makes a lot of sense, at least. There we go. I feel like it's probably going to go off a bit like this. Like, why are you watching this? I mean, it's kind of a tutorial, but I don't know what I'm doing, so it's like a really crappy tutorial. Well, whatever. Thank you for watching. It's really nice of you to watch me being bored and trying to pretend that I'm entertaining while literally making a pot in 3D. Anyway, let's keep going. And a lot of this work is very slow and meticulous. There's a reason Hollywood spends a lot of money on CGI. Not as much as they should, that mentioned. They usually use it because it's cheaper than doing things in real life, which makes no sense. But that's the case. Okay, let's carry on. Feel free to leave any questions in the YouTube chat. I will attempt to answer them. They don't have to be about this. They can be about literally anything. And I will do my best to answer it. Because like this isn't very interesting right now. I'm sure it will be more interesting as soon as we get into making our olive tree, because then it will be a bit nicer and more interesting than me just painting a crack on a pot. Of course, I've been making a few of these running off, but they are usually not this pristine either. I'm gonna turn on the Notopo again. It didn't seem to work before, but maybe it will now. No, not really. Kind of, I guess. I'm just gonna add a bit more information to these cracks. And these edges should probably be a bit beat up as well, around this rim. We can do that. Way off. So I kind of feel like we should do that all around. And Dinotopo did work in Draw before, so let's hope that's still the case. Yeah, it does. Yeah, okay. So let's add a bit more information along these edges then. Just screwing them up a bit, because if this pot has been standing outside for like several years, maybe like tens of years, then of course it would have been beaten up a bit. And gonna pull the strength way down, and I'm gonna draw a bit just randomly along this pot, like that, and I'm gonna carry on doing that. Oh, wow, no. Around the pot. We're probably just gonna see the front of it, but I mean, this little thing doesn't take any time, and who knows, maybe in the future I will reuse this model for something else, and then that will be really nice that I took those extra few seconds and fix stuff. Gonna do some painting on the rim of this as well. So why is he doing this? He said he wanted a low poly version, but now he's just spending time on high poly version, and that's true. Oh my god, that's way too big. No, I'm gonna change this to like relative detail. No, that's not the one. Change this to like 100 then. No, wait, I'm supposed to go the other way with that one. Damn it, like 3. Still too big. 1. Yeah, that's pretty nice. Let's put this to like 0.01 in strength. We don't want a lot. Let's just mess up that rim a bit. Maybe do some painting in other places. Whoa, I really overdid this, but you know what? We can tone all of it down later, so let's not worry about that too much. I mean, it almost doesn't make sense, this part here, like what happened? It just went out there. I guess we could smooth that down. Slightly. Fix some of these. Oh, way too powerful. Fix some of these edges, making them a bit less extreme. Yeah, something like that, I guess. Let's go back in here, make that slightly powerful, make this bigger. Way too big, apparently. Way too small and powerful. Anyway, I'm pretty happy with this. I think we can work with this. I'm gonna make it fix the edge bits more here, because it does look out of place. Maybe flatten. I clearly went overboard here. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. Okay. Good. Now, as you can see, we have a lot of information here. And that's nice. So let's leave it at that. We're working with, oh my god, that's a lot. I'm gonna switch over to layout view here again. So now we're not modeling anymore. And if I just check, we have Yeah, we have 1,251,000 faces on this thing. And I'm gonna go ahead. Oh, will this work? I hope it works, but it's gonna maybe crash the stream. I mean, the software clearly isn't working, at least. Let's see if this works. If this crashes and all my work is gets undone, I will be a bit slightly mad about that. Will it work or will it crash? Oh man. I did this a really stupid way before. I should have used subdivision surface to make it smoother instead of just subdividing it. So now I'm trying to do that now later on, and it's not looking good. Blender is not responding. And this is also a big part of working with 3D, because it's very computer intensive, and I have a good computer, but at some point it just doesn't matter, because now I have over 1 million faces, and I basically just asked the computer to cut them in half, all of them, to get 2.5 million faces, and that's a lot of faces, to say the least. Well, okay, so we're just waiting around now, I guess. If it doesn't start responding, I'll just ignore the fact that I spend all of this time on a pot, and I'll start making the tree, because that is more interesting. Will it respond? I'm not sure, you guys. I'm kind of feeling like it will not. I feel kind of like we're screwed, actually. Yeah, this isn't gonna start responding, is it? Let's, well, I guess we're making a tree instead then. God damn it. So, 40 minutes of work, gone. Well, not completely gone, I guess, but almost. Yeah. So, this is the last time I saved. That's why you're always supposed to save your work. But I didn't. Just really quickly, I will not do the sculpting again and making the crack. I'll have to do that later on. But this is the way I should have gone about it. Did you just crash again? Like, come on, what the Can you swear on YouTube? Is that a thing? Does it automatically censor you? I know there's software doing that. Okay, this is getting really annoying now. Let's just make sure we end any processes. No, they ended themselves. Okay, I'm not gonna touch this. Never mind. Let's just make our olive tree then. Crap. Okay. So we're gonna make our olive tree out of this square, well, cube. And I'm gonna start by making sure my cube is where I want it, which is, I want it to start off in the center of our world here. Then I'm gonna go to top view. I'm gonna rotate it like this. And then I'm gonna go into edit mode. I'm gonna save, and I'm gonna do that a bit more often from now on, I guess. Now I'm gonna scale this top plane slightly down, then I'm gonna pull it down. So now we have a little plinth, I guess. And now I'm going to go ahead and I'm gonna subdivide this top here. And yeah, those four will be good for now. And then I'm gonna start pulling this up. And this is the point where I should have already downloaded my reference material, but I didn't, and it's on Facebook. So I can't really show you it without showing my personal Facebook. Well, never mind then. So I'm gonna start making a fake tree here. How the trees look, I don't know, not that crooked, probably. But slightly crooked, right? Just gonna make sure. I'm doing a very small olive tree, obviously, because, you know, if I didn't, it wouldn't fit in our pot. Now the scale here doesn't matter a lot because we can always change it later. That's the great thing about 3D. But now I kind of need to see what an olive tree looks like. So let's find out. Olive tree, small. Let's have a look at some olive trees that are small. Basically doing this a bit bigger though. Yeah, I guess it doesn't really matter. I just want to have a look at how the trunks, is that it? No, not the trunks. Well, God, I can't remember what they're called. Holy. Anyway, they seem to just go out in different directions, and the top just carries on, and then that splits as well. Okay, good. So let's we're gonna pull this down slightly, then I'm gonna pull it up slightly, but making some new geometry here. Let's actually pull it down a bit, and then they're gonna take a face like this, and then we can just pull that out, and bam, we have one piece of our tree. Just gonna select these four again, pull them up slightly, and then let's pull something out of here. How much did they basically go upwards? Okay, well, that's not what I did, is it? So let's do that instead then. Bam, bam. Branches. Thank you. Sometimes I feel super stupid. Okay, so why are you still watching this? This isn't your hobby. Is this interesting? Anyway, just gonna continue doing some of these, and then we're gonna make more, I guess. And I'm gonna make the spacing smaller and smaller. And really, I should probably be making these thinner, I guess. Well, maybe not, but I'm gonna make thinner ones later on. So let's pull this up again, but just slightly. Can make them a bit thinner, but oh, screwed up the geometry there. Let's try not to do that. Okay, fine, I'll do it myself. Oh. No, come on. As I said, I don't know how to 3D model. I don't do this. I just find someone else who's already done it on the internet, Then I just animate it, match lighting, and put it in a scene. Anyway, this is a good start, I feel like. Let's take some of these faces, scale them down, and not do something that extreme. Man, what does a tree look like? This is sort of one of the most difficult things to model, and that's of course where I'm starting. Because a tree is obviously not very symmetrical in any way, shape, or form, and they're very, very detailed. And a computer, doing things in a computer, the easy way here is to make something that is very symmetrical. That's the big benefit of using a computer instead of just drawing it or modeling it in real life. You can get perfect symmetry. So making a tree is kind of difficult if you need to look at it close. Like making a tree in the background is super easy. I mean, there's even a tree generator. I have a tree generator. And I probably could make this tree with the help of that tree generator. Probably. But that's boring. And I want to learn 3D modeling. That's kind of the reason I'm doing this, like, at all. So I'm gonna do it this way. Let's have a look at our tree once again. Yup, they all just go on up. Nothing going down really. Makes sense, the sun is up, and trees and branches tends to like things that are going up. The sun. What am I talking about? I've now been talking continuously in a room by myself for almost an hour, and I mean, I'm not gonna pretend that I don't do that normally. But it's a bit weird because now a few of you are watching it. Among others, my neighbors. Hi Linnea and Rebecca. Yeah, so how many branches are we talking? Don't worry, I know there's a lot, and most of them are just like tiny twigs and stuff going off the bigger branches, but I'm looking for the bigger branches. It's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that splits into another big one, 6. Yeah, so I've definitely done more than 6, which is good. But some of them are supposed to split off a bit. Now they're just branches going out. So let's do something about that, shall we? So let's make this one here branch off, I guess. So let's make some cuts here, so we can select a small little face. Can even scale it down, because I mean it's going off a bigger branch, so this should probably be quite small. And do something like that. Let's just do a few more of those. Bam, scale it down, and make it go up just like all the other stuff. Some of these are really thick. I'm not worrying about that right now. I think that will be solved by just adding one of those subdivision. Yeah, I mean that looks fine. I mean, smoothing it out a bit. I can see I should have more stuff going this way. But that looks okay. Maybe this one is a bit thick, and this one, but the other ones looks quite all right. Let's fix those while we're at it, I guess. Why not? So let's, wrong selection mode. What's going on here? Oh, I'm not in edit mode. That's what's going on here. So let's just check all of these, select all of these, and oh, I have a selection over here as well. Let's remove that. And I guess something like that, and then Shift Y. Yeah, I guess that kind of works. Let's just put it back in there. Yeah. And this one was a bit thick as well. So let's just select that. Damn it. So let's just select with this one as well. And scale it down. And pull it back where it's supposed to be. There we go. Okay. So, as I said, we should have something more going out this way. So let's just quickly fix that by choosing a face, maybe this one, scaling it down a bit, and something like that. Let's go ahead and add some separation on this one straight away. Bam, bam, bam. Yeah, that's probably pretty good. We don't want it to be too even. We want to utilize the fact that I did not do this perfectly. So if once again I go out here and let's have a look at it, smooth out a bit. Yeah, that looks pretty good to me. Okay, I'm gonna add a bit more branching, like branches, but not from the stem, but like branching out from some of these bigger ones. And then I think we're ready to move on to the next step, which once again is supposed to be some sculpting. Now that didn't go great last time, obviously, with everything crashing and me losing my work, which reminds me to save, which I should probably do a bit more often. But we kind of need to do that. So I guess we're trying the sculpting thing again. Yeah, we kind of need to do that because otherwise it will not look good at all. Because then it will be too smooth, too nice, not very natural, which is not very realistic, because that is the point. I want to make something that looks real, and then we need to add a lot of detail, and the best way to do that, in my opinion, is sculpting, because I can do this all day and not receive the same level of detail. And I mean, then we're just doing the big detail. The small detail we can do with texturing. You know what? I'm gonna call this done for now. Man, okay. There's some things I need to do. First of all, this the stem is too sharp, and before adding subdivisions, modifiers and stuff, we're just gonna subdivide this. Well, not subdivide it even, we're gonna bevel it. So we're gonna choose, no, sorry, wrong selection mode. We're gonna choose like a line along the tree. We're gonna hit Control B and split that into 2 lines. And we're gonna do this for all of these corners. So Control B, smooth it out, turn around, bam, Control B, and last one, Control B. So now it's not sharp corners, although there are sharp corners, but not as sharp corners. And I think that's good enough for our low poly version. It's a bit too tall, but I feel like I'm just gonna fix that by, bigger issue, maybe the stem is too thick, is it? Because on this picture here, there isn't that much difference between the branches and the tree. Am I gonna do that? I guess I'm gonna do that. Just problematic because I'm not sure if I can do that now easily anymore. Well, I have one idea that might work, but it's a bit dubious. By just selecting stuff in the middle. I mean, I kind of got the stuff I wanted. Maybe this will work. And then just add a few more of these. Like that. And then remove stuff I didn't actually mean to press. I mean, this will not work perfectly, obviously, but it might give us a bit better of a result. Bam. Make sure as much of the stem as possible is selected, and I'm not worrying about it being too tall. I can just hide that in the pot or just cut it off later on. Or I can do it right now, I guess. Yeah, so let's see if we can make it a bit thinner to start with. Like that. That looks more accurate to that really low resolution image. Yeah, that looks pretty good, and it's obviously way too tall now. So let's go ahead and fix that by just selecting everything on top, pulling it down a bit. Still a bit too tall, I guess. What we could do is this. We can also cut off the bottom, but I kind of liked how the bottom turned out with that crook and the stuff. Yeah, I feel like this is good enough. If we just have a look at our pot and take our cube here. Yeah, it should be something like that, and we can just hide the rest of it in the pot. So yeah, that looks good. Now that we have a slight issue there, yeah, let's go back into edit mode, select everything, pull it down. There we go. So now it's where we want it. Can even go object, set origin to geometry. I did not like that result, never mind. Okay, so as I said, once again, the thing we're supposed to do, and really should do, is start doing our sculpting of this, adding small and tiny details. But since that was screwed up brilliantly last time I tried with the pot, I'm instead going to go on and add some leaves. Just thinking it through. Can I do that? Yeah, I think I can do that, because we're gonna use this in the end either way. Yeah, that should be possible. I'm gonna go ahead and subdivide this. Am I? No, we're gonna go ahead and add a subdivision surface. and we're gonna make it like we want the end result to be. Something along the smoothness level, I guess. Maybe even this. Yeah, gonna go for that. And we have some issues, just like with the pot. Some things are smoothed out too much, so we're gonna fix that once again by adding these loop rings and tightening up stuff. Just making these a bit nicer. This is known as the boring part of 3D modeling. All the just fixing stuff so it works, that you just spent a lot of time working on. You would think that something so technical would just fix everything itself, but nope. Still need to do a lot of manual work to make these things work. So let's go ahead, tighten these up. I don't want some of them to be too tight, but smooth it out like a bit at least. Because a branch usually goes off quite directly. It's usually not a smooth bend between the stem of the tree and the branch, like the computer is trying to do here, because here it just pulls the tree out into a branch. And of course this is happening, but not on this level. So I'm gonna make it a bit smaller like that, and a bit smaller like that. That looks way more natural than something like this, in my opinion. Yeah. So how was your day? Was it nice? Did you stay away from people? I tried to stay away from people, because my throat has been sore for like a week. Yeah, just a few more. Or maybe a lot more. Bam. Bam. Here. And here. Did I get them? Did I get all the problems? Kind of feel like I almost did, right? They are a bit too clumped together here at the top of our stem, so let's just tighten all of that up so it more looks like they're branches poking out and not like a... Well, I'm not sure what it looks like, but it doesn't look like it's a tree with a bunch of branches going off right now. Yeah, I think that's it. Already did that one. Yeah, okay, good. Good. Now these aren't perfect, obviously. There's some issues. They're not round. Why aren't they round? Well, maybe I should have thought of that before doing it. Shouldn't I? But my hope is that by just adding enough leaves, no one will notice. Can of course not be sure of that, but I'm hoping that is the case. Have a bit of an issue here with some geometry that got bent more than it actually could. So let's just fix that really quickly. Or I thought I would do it quickly. I have a solution though. That is just deleting that. And then I can choose these, Press F to fill them. Rotate this. And then I guess we can make some of these so it's a bit smaller like that. And I mean the points should obviously what is going on here? Well, there's something weird here. And it doesn't look weird, but it's not acting as it's supposed to. It's not doing what I'm telling it. Anyway, I guess the ends of the branches should... what am I doing? Stupid. Okay, there we go. Just making the ends smaller. Because that is what happens on trees. Wow, really, Rasmus? Yes. You might never have seen it, but branches actually get thinner the further out they go. So let's just do that, I guess. And as well as making a few of these that are way too thick, a bit thinner. Okay. So I'm pretty happy with this. So let's add some leaves, because I think we can do that without issue, even though we haven't done our sculpting yet. I don't think it will affect anything that we jump ahead and do that. It doesn't quite make sense to add leaves before we've done everything else, but since it failed miserably last time, I'm thinking it's the smarter choice by now. To make sure that something happens during this live stream. Not that a lot is happening right now, I guess. But you're still here. Insane. Okay. Just realized my head has probably been partly out of the frame. Maybe that doesn't matter. It's not really about me, sadly. I like when that's the case though. Okay, let's go back. Let's have a look at it smoothed out. Looks pretty great. I'm pretty happy with that. How happy? I'm gonna go with happy enough. Okay. So now we're gonna add some leaves. And then the first thing we need to do is have some leaves. And since I have my leaves on Facebook Messenger and don't want to show that to you, you're gonna get a special chance to have a look at my very bad beard while I cover up what's going on my desktop. So I'm just gonna go ahead and download those pictures of leaves. There we go. Oh, they were not very high resolution, were they? Just insane to me that some phone cameras are absolutely fantastic and some are terrible. I mean, shouldn't they all be at least good enough by now? I feel like they should, but they aren't. So that's a shame. Download that and download. Wait, are these better? No. What was the last one I downloaded? Open. Yeah. Yeah, I think I have what I need now. Okay, good. Now we're gonna leave our 3D software and we're gonna do some work in Photoshop. Wow, is he doing like all of the software today? Yes, he is. Oh, this is work stuff. Okay, I'm just gonna quickly open up something so we don't see my work stuff. I don't think I'm not allowed to show it. I think that's fine, but just for safety. Bam, bam, bam. Wow. Let's make me even smaller. Like that. Okay, great. So, what we're gonna do in Photoshop is to take these leaves of an olive tree, my olive tree, and we're gonna go ahead and cut them out. Because we of course want accurate leaves, and the most accurate leaves are the actual leaves. So we're gonna cut these out, and that's presumably super easy. I'm hoping it's super easy, but it really should be. Because Photoshop is really good at some things and very annoying with other things. But that's software for you. Okay, it was super easy. So bam, we have our first leaf. And we want a few different ones, but I think I'm just gonna start making one. And so we have one, and then we can have a look. I can do more of them because I still have stuff I need to fix, obviously, since we had some issues with the sculpting. Okay, there we go. So this should be the same leaf from the top and the bottom, but we need to do some stuff. First of all, it's green, but this is way too dark. It looks almost black. So let's just have a look if the information is there, or if we're gonna have to tint it green. I mean, it doesn't have to be perfect for me. That's good. I mean, they are dark green. Let's now see if this will line up. Well, not line up. It will not line up because it's, oh damn it, because they are not and the same side, of course. It's mirrored because it's the other side of it. I guess I could check that though. That makes this a lot easier probably. So let's just go ahead and flip this. Now let's make sure they're exactly the same size. Well, as close as we can get at least. Doesn't have to be perfect. Just close enough, and that is really good. And I'm gonna flip this back. Edit, transform, flip horizontal. So now we have our front and back of our leaf, which is good. And why not just select both of these up and scale both of them up, so we fill up as much of our picture as possible and have a high resolution version of them as possible. I might have overdone it a bit there. So I actually scaled it past the end of the picture. Let's settle for that. That looks good to me. Okay. So now we have our leaves. They're the same size, but it's the underside and it's top side. We could, no, never mind. Okay, good. And I'm just gonna export this as a PNG, put it on my desktop, I guess. Olivlöv, it's probably blad and not löv, but whatever. Okay, good. So now we have these. We're gonna go back into Blender and we're gonna Shift A and we're gonna add a new image as planes. And we will realize our mistake. And we're gonna press cancel. We're gonna go back in here. We're gonna remove the background. We're gonna export it as a PNG again by the same name and overwrite that. Yes, thank you. There we go. Okay. What happened to my... Is it because it crashed? Yeah, seems that way. Okay. Okay. No. What? There we go. So now we can see down here again. Hopefully, unless my head is covering it up. What I'm pressing, if you want to see what I'm pressing. Okay. So now we're gonna go ahead, import that image of those leaves. Let's just hide our tree for now. Bam. Let's rename that layer from cube to tree. So now we have this layer, but we don't see our leaves on here. So let's do something about that. There we go. And as you can see, it did not come in flat. So let's just go ahead and rotate it by 90 degrees. There we go. And there we have our leaves. What we're gonna do now, we could just use this image. That would work to use it. Sorry. Oh, never mind. We could use this image and just put a bunch of these on our tree. But that has some issues that aren't very nice. Because then you will have the computer look at what parts of this image are supposed to be transparent, and that will bump up the render times like a lot. So geometry, as long as it's simple and not too advanced, will work fine. So I'm gonna add a plane instead, which is just a flat piece of just a flat square basically. We're gonna scale it down a lot, and we're gonna work from our top view, and we're gonna model this leaf. Now I can't see my plane right now because it's clipping. They're in the same space as the image, and that is very unstable. So I'm gonna go into viewport display. Down here I'm just gonna select in front, and that didn't work. Well, okay then. Then I'm gonna go ahead and pull it up slightly instead. So there we go. So now it's just slightly above. Gonna scale this down even more, I think. Something like this. Then I'm gonna scale it out this way. Right, okay, good. So now we're just gonna model this leaf, and we can use a lot of different selections and stuff, but it doesn't have to be perfect basically. All I want is to make a good enough leaf, because there's gonna be so many of them that you probably can't focus on a single one, and therefore it doesn't have to be perfect. Although as good as possible is of course nice. Modeling a leaf, right? Crazy. As I said, you can skip this and just use the image, but I don't want to do that. I mean, after all, this is a 3D modeling exercise for me. My original plan was to even sculpt these leaves, so to add like the ridge in the middle. I won't. That's too much work, and the sculpting didn't clearly not work out very well with the pots, so I I guess I'm not doing that anymore. Yeah, so I'm just working myself out here to the edge, and then we're gonna do the other side. The nice thing is, since these are the same leaf, I don't have to do this twice. Just once per leaf, and then we put this part of the image on top of it and this part on the bottom as a texture. And hopefully we can get some bump map and stuff as well. I'll talk more about that when we get there. So yeah, there's a reason I usually don't 3D model, and it's that it takes so much damn time. It's 1 hour and 20 minutes. I've managed to do a low polypot, almost a high polypot, and a terrible tree, to be honest. It's not good, is it? Bam. And last little bit. All right, okay. Now, of course, if I did a lot more 3D modeling, this would be quicker than it is right now, but well, whatever. I probably overdid the amount of geometry here as well. It will probably screw things up for me down the road. And that's a shame, I guess. I could have done this way more low poly. But at the same time, the higher the poly, the more detail, the more people you will probably be able to fool that it's actually a real image. So there we go. Yeah, you know what, let's try to make this part as well. I'm not sure that will end up working, but it would be nice if it did, I guess. So let's try it out, but I'm not gonna do it quite properly. Something like that is fine. Okay, great. We now have ourselves a leaf. It has some issues. First of all, it's completely flat. Is that a big issue? No, not really. But I think it probably shouldn't be. So I'm gonna go ahead and give it just some depth, and I'm gonna regret that. And instead, I'm gonna go ahead and add this line in the middle. I'm gonna pull that up slightly. Now we have our crease in our leaf. And I'm not... Oh, wait, you know what we can do? There's this feature called proportional editing. So now if I pull it up, you see the whole thing is moving. That's because I can choose how much of the leaf I want to affect. So now we can get like a proper crease in there. There we go, that looks nice. And I'm not gonna add some thickness. Instead, we can use a modifier. Yay! And there's one called Solidify, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, that seems like it's doing what we want. Yeah, so that added some thickness. So we can use that instead in a non-destructive way. Great. Now we want to texture this. Yay! Something new. And how do we do that? Well, let me show you. First of all, we're going to go into edit mode, select all of these faces, realizing why we wanted to add thickness in the first place. Damn it. Okay. Extrude it just slightly. Of course, it's supposed to be very thin. There we go. Okay. Now, let's select everything. Let's press U to unwrap. And then we're gonna go back in here, apparently. Bam, okay. U to unwrap. Now we're unwrapping the mesh. And that will probably work, I think. Let's find out. Okay, So now we're gonna go into shading, and we're gonna go and have a look at our leaf. So this needs some kind of material, and we could of course just make it green, but that's not what we want. We want to use our image. So let's do that. I'm gonna open up our image here. Then we're gonna go ahead and add an image texture here, and it's gonna be our picture. We're gonna load it in here. Now you can see we have some issues. We have our two leaves there and nothing else. But we can fix that. So we're gonna do that by going into UV editing. And we're gonna choose, you know what, this is easier. Okay. That did not work the way I was thinking it should. Okay, there we go. And now I'm confused. Why is this happening? There we go. Okay, great. Now, we do have some issues here, obviously, because this is not the correct scale. But I think we'll be good. You see, down here we have some of the faces we didn't choose. Those are the ones here on the side. So let's just go ahead and remove those. There we go. And then make sure we select these two again that I accidentally removed. Okay, so now we can take these faces and we can have a look at it here in real time, so we see what we're doing. And we see that this is obviously not the correct proportions. So let's scale it down in this direction. This is the underside, so we need to scale it down all the way. Oh, did that work? No, it didn't. As I said, I don't know what I'm doing. Well, damn it. How do I do that then? Oh, right. There we go. I figured it out. Okay, great. So now we need to line these two up. And as you can see, it doesn't work perfectly right now. But we'll just have to fix that, I guess. So I'm gonna make it a bit thinner. Something like that. You can just take these individual ones. I'm gonna turn off proportional editing. Just gonna move all of these center ones into the middle so they go along the ridge of our leaf. And then this portion up here is not lined up at all. So let's attempt to do that. Something like this. That works pretty good. Gotta fix these up, obviously. Half past 9. Starting to get a bit tired and slightly annoyed about the pot not working out, to be honest. Because so far I made a shitty tree, a low poly pot, and soon a leaf, but that's not very good, is it? Bam, bam, bam. This one is going out into the transparent stuff. Okay, there we go. So now, if we tab out of edit mode, you can see that the underside of our leaf looks like a leaf. Yay! And we're gonna make it even better. Wow. By I guess I'm gonna go ahead and add a light here so you can see what we're doing. There we go. Right, so we have our texture. It looks like a leaf, but we don't have any of the actual texture of the leaf. It's not perfectly smooth, right, in real life. So we can fix that, and we're gonna do that by adding a bump node. Then we're gonna pull our color into the height and that into the normal map. Wait a few seconds, and now we can see we have a texture here, but it's way too much. So let's go ahead and pull that down to almost nothing. So now we have a bit of texture on here. It's hard to see, I know. I might be able to make it easier for you to see. Off and on. Yeah, I don't know if that works, but anyway. So now we have some texture, and we also want this to let some light through, right? Because if you shine a flashlight on a leaf in real life, there will be some light shining through. So we're gonna do that by adding another material that is translucent, and we're gonna take the color from our leaf and plug into that, and then we're gonna combine that with this texture we have here using Mix Shader node. I'm not gonna talk too much about how these works because I barely know myself. And now not sure if it's gonna work because that part is black right now. Yeah, no. Anyway, it's gonna work later on. Okay, great. So let's fix the top side as well. I mean, that should be pretty quick as well, right? So let's select that, select, just gonna go ahead and make sure we're in top view. And then I'm gonna select all of these. And once again, we have some issues having accidentally selected some on the sides. But this time, I think I want to have, no, let's do them separately. So let's go ahead and remove them. Now, there we go. And bam. Okay. And now, wait. Okay. We had our underside selected as well. But why is this doing this? There we go. Okay, great. So I'm just gonna do the same thing we did before. So let's choose all of these, make them the correct way. Realize we have a problem here again. So let's just invert that. Let's make it even thinner. Like that. And then select the ones on top, rotate and place them where they're supposed to be. think I'm gonna end the stream very soon because I'm getting really tired. But there are more viewers now, so never mind. I'm kind of feel like it's starting to get a bit too tiring, this, but we'll see. I'm gonna go on for like a while still. Bum bum ba dum. Wait. Yeah, there we go. Scale that down a bit. Select these. Move them. Supposed to be. This one is out of bounds. These are. No, I guess they're fine. We want to keep it as close to the edge as possible because we have some color shifts there. It's much brighter green. It's nice if we get them in our model. So let's do as good of a job as we can, I guess. I'm still kind of dumbfounded that anyone is watching this. The last few times I had a live stream, no one was, or like 1 or 2. But now we're 4. Wow. And we were up to 6 at one point. And that's a lot of people watching someone that isn't famous or have anything going on. Since you are on my YouTube channel, if you haven't watched my latest short film, that is very short, it's 60 seconds, not even that, like 45 seconds. Close Encounters of Quarantine Kind. Go watch that after I end the stream. It's 40 seconds. You probably have 40 seconds. And I think it's quite funny. And it's kind of... I don't know. I think it's kind of funny. I think you should watch it. When I've ended the stream, obviously, not now. Okay, there we go. So now, as you can see, we have the top as well. And as you can also see, maybe if I make this bigger, I don't know how high quality the video stream is, but as you can see here, probably we have even some texture here. So that's really nice, and this isn't even in render view. I've gotten a surprising amount of Tinder messages during this stream. I'm not sure if anyone from Tinder is watching this. I mean, I did a live stream for Lunds Nation, live streaming a ball not that long ago, and several people from Tinder actually wrote to me about that. But I mean, that was for Lunds Nation. They have thousands of followers and I don't. So what's going on here? Anyway, let's just do the sides as well. And you see we get these here, but I'm not doing too fancy of a job on these. I'm not actually gonna match them with the sides, I think. Unless I can. No, it's not worth it. I'm gonna make them fairly straight, and then I'm gonna just put them kind of on the edge here. But doesn't really matter because we don't have the edge detail, so to say. So I'm gonna select this side, gonna do basically the same, making it a straight line, scaling it down a bit, and kind of putting it along. Well, I can't really put this along edge, but it doesn't really matter. You're probably not going to be able to see that. Anyway, so there we go. We have one leaf. Yay! That's all I ever wanted. Yes, of course it is. That's all of any one of us wanted. Oh, and you can even See the translucency here? A bit. If I choose my light and go like over the top, you can see this side is getting bright as well, even though the light is underneath and it's making this completely white, but we only see the translucency here. So that's really nice. Anyway, so now we have that. That's nice. What are we gonna do now? Well, we need to put our leaf on our tree, don't we? So let's do that. And how are we gonna do that? Well, first of all, we can't put leaves on the entire tree, obviously, because that's not what a tree looks like. So first of all, we need to tell the computer where to put these leaves, because we're certainly not placing them out by hand. Okay, and there's a few different ways you can do this, and simplest one would just be me saying, hey, look at these. Well, maybe not these, but hey, take these, put leaves on them. And you know what? That is probably good enough. So let's do that. I was thinking I'm gonna do something more fancy, saying like more leaves on the edges. We might have to do that still. I guess we'll see. But let's start out by picking all of the branches and say, hey, put them on the branches. Bam. There we go. Kind of. Let's go to side view as well. Just make sure we got all the branch information we wanted. We might need to add some more information, but we'll see. It might work. Now we're gonna tell the computer that this is a group. I'm gonna name it branches. And I'm gonna add these selected objects to this group called branches. Okay, good. So now we have a separated group with just the branches and not the stem. And now we're gonna add a particle system. And particle systems can do different things. If I don't edit any settings, you can see that the entire tree is emitting particles. That doesn't really make sense. First of all, we only want it to come from our branches. Yay! So if you have like a tree with a lot of like bees or wasps and you want them to fall out and die to show that global warming is a problem, you can do it like this. But we probably don't, because we want our leaves to stay on our tree. So we're gonna change it from emitting to hair. Obviously we're not gonna have hair, and the hair isn't gonna look like this. So first of all, let's make them shorter. Does that matter? You know what, maybe it doesn't. But anyway, what we are gonna select is how many we want. How many leaves are there on an olive tree? We're gonna count them. 1, 2, I don't know. The good thing is we can change this because we aren't doing anything fancy. So let's keep it on 1,000 for now. And we're gonna go into our render settings and we're gonna change it from rendering these lines into rendering an object. And that object is gonna be our leaves. And we now have our leaves here. If you go ahead and look closely, you can see we have our leaves. They aren't really making what they're supposed to. So let's make them, first of all, a bit larger. Yes, that looks about the right size. We are gonna need more, I can tell. Then we're gonna go into rotation and change that to normal. No. Global X. No. Global Y. No. Object Y. No. Object X. And now we reach one of those I don't know what I'm doing kind of things. Damn. I will get this. I have done this before. This is one of the steps I have done before. I feel like it should be global coordinates. Yeah, and something like that. Face. I mean, they should be going most of the directions, I guess. Yeah. We need more. They should probably be a bit bigger as well. Let's make them 3000. Is that too much? Might be. They also need to be even bigger, I think. And that's too much, yes. 1500. Maybe a bit better. Let's have a look. Yeah, I guess 2000. And make them a bit smaller. Yeah. Of course, they're not going out in all kinds of crazy directions now, so we need to figure out how that works, because I don't know. But we will figure it out, I'm sure. Otherwise, I'm gonna watch a tutorial on this live stream. That will be interesting, right? Because obviously it's possible. You can also see I have a problem down here apparently. Normal tangent. Yeah, no, this is a bit problematic, to be honest, because I do not know exactly how I should do this. Damn it. Well, you get the gist of it, I guess, but that doesn't really help. Because we need these to go out in more uniform directions. Because of course what we want is just pointing all out of the normals, which should be me going to rotation and choosing normal tangent. Or normal. Is it because I've randomized it? What does the normal? Or is it velocity here? Will that work? It looks super crazy. Let's just have a less so we can see what we're doing. This is a big part of this like problem solving, because sometimes you just don't know. Here they all go in the same direction. Don't want that. Is it because my normal maps, well, not my normal map, but my normals are fucked up? Let's just test that. Recalculate normals. Bam. Did that help? Well, they are going along the branches. And that's obviously wrong, but normal tangent looks like it's close to working. But I do think we actually will need some more geometry. So let's go ahead and subdivide this. Well, at least the top port. We don't need to do that with the bottom right now. So let's select our top and let's subdivide it a few times. something like that. And then let's see, right, back into edit mode, select everything and recalculate them normals. And see if this worked and helped us at all. And our answer is seemingly no. Damn it. Well, normal tangent looks pretty much like the best, because using these just puts all of them in the same direction. Will that work though? I have one idea. Let's remove that for now. I think I might have just gotten an idea. Let's put that in the middle. And let's make our tree visible again. And let's now change it to object global X, I think. Nope, still not working. Oh, but that might work. Object set origin to 3D origin to 3D cursor. Bam. Did that work? It did. Yes. Okay, great. Now we can add some randomization. Great. So now, as you can see, all of them have their inner parts touching the tree and outer parts touching something else. Yay. That's like fantastic. That's exactly what we wanted. Okay, let's go back to like 1500 maybe. You know what? Let's go crazy. Let's make it 2000 leaves. Is that too much? It might be, I don't know. And now we want to have a look at it. Right, I have some on the bottom. We didn't want that, but never mind. Let's make this pretty. And we're gonna make it pretty by once again shoving my face all over the screen. And you can have a look at my terrible attempt at growing a beard while I add a texture that is gonna light our entire environment with something that has absolutely revolutionized the CG industry. Just gonna pick a nice one. And then I'm gonna tell you what it is. As soon as I find it, there it is. Okay, good. Oh my god. You can clearly see that I'm a professional streamer knowing what I'm doing, right? It's very obvious, I think. Okay, good. So here we have a picture. And what is that picture gonna do? Well, I'm gonna show you. I'm just gonna quickly change the setting. So this image is an image that is spherical, so you can see all the way around. And it's not just something taken with like a phone camera or anything, because you can do that with like the Google Maps app, Street View app, whatever. This is a high dynamic range picture that contains a lot more information than a normal picture when it comes to especially light. So like a normal picture has 256 values of light. This has like thousands of different values. So instead of black being 0 and white being 256 or 255, I guess technically, this is like a range of thousands. I think. I don't know exactly about this particular image, but anyway. So that is gonna be used to have accurate lighting, like real world lighting on our tree. So we can now render it, and we can see we have our leaves, and we're getting accurate lighting. So we have our sun over here, so we have a shadow on that side, and pretty lighting on this side, and we have shadows and stuff. So this looks really good. I'm kind of happy with these leaves. Now, it's 10 o'clock. I think I'm gonna end it. But I'm gonna tell you what I would carry on doing. And maybe there will be another live stream, like tomorrow or something. Let's just pull this up. We can end with something. You know what? Let's just add a quick texture to these things, and we'll pretend we did something, I guess. What does a tree look like? Well, no, that's too much work. Let's just make it gray with some green in it. Not that much green, like that. And quickly just add a noise texture, bump, plug that into the height, that into the normal map, zoom in so I can see what I'm doing. No, let's go like that. Just gonna add some texture here. Something like that, I guess. Bam. It's probably a bit too strong. Just gonna make it a bit flatter like that. And then let's go ahead and... Alright. Boom. Take our low poly pot. Just quickly make it smooth. Subdivision surface. Like twice, thrice. Just add a quick terracotta color here. Something like that, I guess. And we can actually go over to our tree. Just take these two, copy them, paste them here. Just gonna have to go ahead because this is way too big. Put this to like 0. Oh no, wait, like 500. Maybe even more, like 1,000. There we go. And just pull that way down. This is too strong as well, so let's just pull that down as well and change that to like 500 maybe. Just gonna do a quick render here. Bam. Done. There we go. And just select our camera, depth of field. Let's go ahead and focus on our tree and put this on 1.8 or something, and maybe move it down a bit like that. Create a plane scale, like a lot, maybe even bigger. Bam. Just go ahead and add a material to that that is like a dark gray, maybe some green, a dark green. That's probably good. Just gonna go ahead and change that to a shadow catcher. And now that, you know what, why not? Well, I guess that's where we're leaving off tonight. We absolutely have some issues, of course. I'm gonna have to do the crack and the sculpting on this nicer. The tree obviously needs sculpting and some organic bits as well. The leaves are getting there, but I feel like they're a bit too dark, so we might have to fix that as well. But I'm kind of happy with the leaves. What I'm gonna do though is that I'm gonna take more pictures of leaves. I have like this one, which is not whole. It has some holes in it. We have this that has parts torn off. So I'm gonna add a variation of leaves, so they're not all the same leaf, but are several different leaves. Because of course a bush in the real life, or a tree, doesn't have exactly the same leaf everywhere. And then I'm gonna do a very quick olive as well, and have some olives hanging here. They're both green and black. And then I'm gonna model some detail, as I said, into the tree and into the pot. And we're gonna go ahead and paint these so they're not uniformly the same color, but they have some dirt in the crevices and some color variation and stuff. And the background will, of course, not be this image. We will, in fact, do a background in 3D as well, although very simplified, because what we can do is we can just take our camera settings and put them to like something ridiculous, and it's all out of focus except the part in the front. So no one will notice that they are very crude. But yeah, so I'm gonna end the live stream there. We'll be going for 2 hours tonight. Might do something more nights. I might finish this on live stream. Why not? I can continue live streaming. If you enjoyed this, thank you so much. Thank you for watching either way. I did not expect anyone to watch. And yeah, go watch my short film on my channel. Close Encounters of Quarantine Kind. It's 40 seconds long. You have 40 seconds. And good night, I guess. Bye. How do I stop?